Hey everybody, you're listening to the death of a shot from the point. That's right, you're listening to the death of a shot from the point. And you're also listening to the best of a shot from the point. This is the funeral episode, the day me and Dave decided to destroy a shot from the point forever. That date being October 11th, 2012. Why did we decide to do it? Well, first of all, it was basically me. I decided to bag it. I thought I was done with it. It was really fun to do during the 2012 playoffs, but I thought it'd run its course. I thought my podcasting would run its course, and on to the next thing. It didn't turn out that way, obviously, because now we're making best of episodes, and we continued with the season. This is also the death of the minus episodes. The minus episodes would end. This is the last minus episode before we started season 1. But I did have every intention at the time to end the entire show. So I thought, as kind of a protest, and the fact that I have a really radically different take on Gary Bettman, the lockout, and what have you, this would be my final que sera, goodbye, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. This would be my way to do it, because I have a very, very different take on Gary Bettman. And the reason is, I don't blame Gary Bettman. In fact, I don't waste my time blaming Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman is not truly a commissioner. He is an owner representative. And 2 out of 3 times during these half-season lockouts in 2004 and 5, a full season loss, he's won. Because that's his job. I don't believe for a minute that if the owners took him aside and said, hey, Gary, cut a deal for the players, that he wouldn't do it. And I'm not stupid enough to believe that he sits at home, wrings his hands together, goes, I've got the season in my hands, and I will end it to my own greed. That's stupid. That's ridiculous. It's better for him for the season to go on, and he probably doesn't. He probably gets paid either way. His job is to get the best deal for the owners, and he does. I don't blame him for it. That's a job. It's not if you're a fan. But if you're a fan, I want you to listen to my monologue coming up. If you're a fan, you need to do this. You need to do what I'm telling you to say. Also, I wasn't right about everything. I was really scared that everything we had gained with the LA Kings victory in 2012, the ratings would be shut down the toilet. That did not happen this year. The NHL came back with a vengeance. Ratings were great right from the beginning and got stronger as things went along. Exactly what the NHL has always wanted. The deal with NBC Sports, or whatever that channel is in the States, has been spectacular. It's really been a good thing for everybody. See, in 1994, when they had their half season, and it just coincided with a new neutral zone trap, a slower, lower scoring game, they lost revenue. So the lockout didn't do anybody any good, and it really didn't do anybody any good when they lost the 2004 entire season, 2004 and 2005 season, even though we're bringing great players like Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin in. Now, if you ask me, those two guys probably saved the game. Crosby's another story, but got to give credit where credit's due. Like I said, I got a different take on it. I don't blame Gary Bettman. I blame the owners. I also blame somebody else. So listen up. Here it is, the death of a shot from the point.
Heart of Europe. This is the most badass hockey podcast in the known man's land. This is a shot from the point, the 2012-2013 season, the NHL season. We're going to talk about all the happenings in the NHL this season. I had this stupid bit that I was going to do, and I spent up all night writing it about the hockey podcast and the NHL season, and it pretty much is a stupid bit because and I was going to transition and do that thing, that the radio guy voice you just heard, and I was going to transition into, but there's no season, is there? And I've just decided that I'm not going to do that. I'm basically going to talk to you about what's going on, because if you're listening to this, you probably are a pretty hardcore hockey fan, because I can't imagine a casual guy listening to a podcast on YouTube. But I have to really go over the lockout for a bit, because I have a really different take on it. A lot of people are pissed off at Gary Bettman. A lot of people are just angry in general because this is the second time in 8 years. And I'm here to tell you that it's not Gary Bettman's fault. It's yours. It's your fault. Well, essentially, it's your fault. You're an enabler. You're helping this stuff go on. The reason the players are coming to Europe, the reason this is falling apart, is because the NHL owners are well aware that they're going to make just enough money selling their crap that you will continue to buy while you blame the patsy, the deliberate patsy, Gary Bettman. But Gary Bettman is creating the lockout. He's keeping us from watching hockey. No, he's not. Here's what Gary Bettman. Here's what Gary Bettman is. Gary Bettman's a businessman, and he's been hired to do a job. Yes, but he calls himself a commissioner. He's supposed to have the players in mind too. Well, he hasn't. He's had this job since 1990, and he's always taken the owner's side, no matter what. So Gary Bettman has been hired to do one thing and one thing only, and he has been successful at it, like it or not. That means get the best possible deal for the owners, no matter what, even if it means losing short-term revenue to gain long-term revenue. So Bettman takes this job while you idiots continue to point fingers at him. He is a willing patsy. He is taking all the heat because you keep giving in. But there's a way you can fight back. There is a way you can fight. You can stop blaming Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman's doing a fantastic job for the owners, admittedly not for the fans. Gary Bettman's doing a spectacular job. He's getting exactly what he wants. All he has to do is please the owners. Those are the people that employ him. And he's probably going to get the best deal possible. And I'll be impressed if he does. But that's not the problem. You're the problem, and here's why. This season, you owe it. If you really want to see hockey, you need to stop buying shit. You need to stop complaining on the internet. You have to give something to the owners because they're the ones that are truly at fault. They're the ones that want this lockout. These are the guys that don't care if they lose money. They don't care if they lose money because they know they're going to get it back long term with the killer CBA. I mean, this is a group of people that 8 years ago said, we can't go on unless we change the CBA. And they got this one, and now they're saying the same thing 8 years later. They know they're going to make money either way. They don't care about the small market teams. They probably make more money than we think either. But they know you're going to buy the shit. They know you're going to buy the jerseys. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. The best possible thing that you could do is ignore them. You need to destroy, or at least let the owners think you're going to destroy hockey. Write ESPN. Tell them you want KHL games. Forget the NHL. Be willing to destroy it. Because let me tell you something. If the owners turn around and think for a minute, even a second, that you're serious, that you don't give a shit, let me tell you something. You destroy that league, you'll see the Stanley Cup in another league because it's been in 3 other ones before this, by the way. It's not the only league. You will see hockey at another level. Fuck the NHL. Hockey's played on a pond by kids. The NHL isn't hockey. Hockey's played at Ford's Park with the kids I grew up with at inline skates. Hockey's not going anywhere. Who cares about the NHL? But I want the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup will come along. The Stanley Cup, they'll be selling that thing for $20 or the $30 Lord Stanley bought it for. You have to act, at least pretend that you don't want hockey this year and that you don't care. And let me tell you something. You might not have to do it because this lockout garbage chased away the casual fan that we gained last week. Hockey's going to go on, man. Hockey's going to be fine. The NHL might not be around, but hockey's going to be fine. Start demanding to watch games in Europe. Don't go back. Support the players. They're the ones that gave in. Dave said last year that they had one of the best CBAs in all the 4 major sports. And I'm going to do my part in doing this. I'm going to not get the NHL package. I am not going to, great English, pay attention, and I'm not going to give a shit. And I am going to destroy my baby, my first podcast, A Shot from the Point. This will be the final episode of A Shot from the Point. And with me to do my final episode is my friend and co-host, Dead on Dave Van Kuren.
Whoa! I'm here. Holy shit! I fell asleep.
Did you?
I heard my name. I got excited.
Did you fall asleep because you don't care? I mean, you were a casual fan, as you admitted.
You see, I agree and disagree with so much of what you just said. May I retort?
Absolutely.
Oh, great! This is buckle up.
Okay.
You see, the first thing you said was Bettman is a businessman, and you're absolutely right about that. But guess what? So is Roger Goodell. So is David Stern.
Who's Roger Goodell? Sorry.
Roger, the commissioner of the NFL.
Oh, there you go.
David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA, and Bud Selig, the commissioner of Major League Baseball.
All stellar individuals.
Yes, yes. And you know what those three have in common that Bettman doesn't have with them?
A league that people watch on national television?
No, all three of those commissioners were once, in the case of Stern and Selig, were owners in those leagues. And Goodell was a part owner in the NFL for another franchise.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Bettman has never owned shit in the NHL. You see, and there's the disconnect. Here's the thing that makes everything you said not work quite a bit. And I don't blame the fans for this. I don't blame Bettman either.
And I blame you too.
Well, you
doing a shot for the point. I blame you as well. I'm walking away. I'm done with hockey. They've killed me. All right, we'll get into that later, but go ahead.
But yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. You see, here's my thing with the whole whose fault this is. Nobody walked away from football and we still got our football back. Nobody walked away from baseball and we still got our baseball back. Same thing in basketball. Basketball has more labor problems than the NHL does, arguably. They try to lock out the players every 4 fucking years, it seems. But it always comes back, and players fans are still buying jerseys, fans are still supporting, fans are still clamoring. And us not buying anything isn't going to change the fact the NHL is going to come back. And as I said before, as you made reference to it, the CBA that the NHL had, the last CBA, is by far the most gut-wrenching and owner-positive of all of the CBAs in sports.
And it's not enough.
It's not enough. And they're going to want more, and they're going to get more. The players will collapse again. I think the CBA is going to be almost identical, is what I'm thinking. Because nobody's going to...
If it's identical, they lost the season, and the owners decided...
We're not going to get a season this year.
No, we're not. We're not getting
a season.
And not a season at all. And you know what? You did mention the NBA having it, but they ended up playing the season. In 1995, we lost half of it. In 2004, 2005, we lost the whole thing.
We just lost a half a year last year.
You know? When did the NBA start?
Oh, God.
It was in January, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's right. But that was the first time that happened, correct?
No, it's not the first time it happened, but it's the most recent. We've had shortened seasons before.
The NBA has had long-term lockouts like that in the past. I mean,
yeah. The NBA's lost games before. I don't think they've ever lost as many games.
Who cares? But we lose entire seasons.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate, but it's because I don't think Bettman's a good commissioner at all, man. He's a good businessman, and he helped. And when the owners have given him the opportunity to make something happen, the league has flourished. I mean, it helped, man. Hockey, arguably the last season, and especially the last 2 or 3 seasons, are some of the best we've had ever. For
I'm not saying that Gary Bettman is a good commissioner either. I'm saying he's not a commissioner. And he never was.
I know what you're saying there, and I agree he's not. And if he is, he needs to go back to fucking commissioner school.
He doesn't need to do shit. Let me tell you something. If
they need to get a commissioner in there, someone with real power.
if the owners take him in a corner, Dave, and they say, you know what, this is a bad idea. We've done the number crunching. We're going to lose money if we lose this season. It's not going to help us. We're actually better off taking the CBA as it is. Gary, go down there and cut those guys a deal. That gets done tomorrow because Gary Bettman does what he's told.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing: you would think that he wouldn't have as big of a commitment to the owners because of the fact he's never been an owner himself. In the other leagues, hell, David Stern owned a team last year.
He's a corporate man. He's doing his job. He's like a soldier in the corporate.
Yes, but he's not invested on the owner's behalf.
Yeah, maybe.
The other commissioners have owned in David Stern's case, the Angel of Stern, by far the most power hungry and greedy fucking commissioner of all commissioners in sports, David fucking Stern. He owned a team. He owned the Hornets last year while he was commissioner.
You really think that's
what the hell is that?
But why would Gary Bet? Why would anybody care? Why would I care? Look,
my point is, they're more invested, yet they got the deal done.
Gary doesn't care if the deal gets done. Gary cares if his bosses are happy, and Gary is more than willing to take the heat from the fans because that doesn't mean anything because they're going to still buy shit anyway. He's more than willing to play the patsy. The owners are the ones really at fault here. Like I said, they take him to the corner and say, Gary, get a deal done. This is not going to work. We thought it would. And Gary, I'm sure Gary Bettman's like, yeah, sure, no problem, because he doesn't give a shit. He's getting paid. Is he getting locked out? Is he not getting paid? I'm sure he's getting paid.
I'm sure he's getting paid something. And that's another thing. Goodell didn't get paid when the lockout happened.
He didn't get paid.
Goodell didn't get paid. Stern probably did. Sealy is the smartest of all of them because they just what baseball did with their last CBA was just brilliant. It was beautiful. They did it amicably. It went off without a hitch. Everybody's happy. We got baseball, you know?
Yeah, super.
And it happened while NBA went through their craziness and the NFL almost lost a year, you know? So I don't know.
I don't think this I don't buy the money. I mean, it's ever since 1990 the NHL has been increasing expansion. And they expand. And then they turn around and they create like a small market team. And then they complain about the small market teams and how, we have to share revenue and do things of this nature. Well, why put a team in, Okefenokee, Georgia, and nobody goes to see it because everybody likes football over there. And they look at the other teams like the Rangers and the Bruins and the Caps. And or not the Cap. Well, now the Caps because of Ovechkin, but they were they're really essentially a small market team. I told you.
Washington is such an underrated sports town. Washington might be the best sports town in America.
I was in Washington. I went to school. I went to this history program through my high school, and we got picked, and then it was so funny. That's another story for another time. You basically got picked because you're a good history student, and then your parents had to fork out like $500 to go down to Washington. But it was a really great time. So I go down and for this history thing where I meet all these whacked politicians and other kooks and what have you. And the NHL playoffs, the 1994 playoffs, and if you know, the Rangers actually went through the Caps in 1994. Compared to where I was from, where the Devils and the Rangers were heating it up, about ready to go into their classic series, nobody cared. I didn't see one jersey, nothing.
Yeah.
Football and baseball are way more popular in the New York area. Much more popular. But you do seeing guys wear hockey jerseys and what have you. There is kind of like this cult. And they're there and they're visible. Nobody could have given two craps about the Caps. They couldn't have cared less. So why do we have a team there? Now, things have changed since Ovechkin's got here, but this is almost 20 years before he got there.
Yeah.
Or, well, not 20, but, 7 or 8.
Washington likes winners. They really like to jump on when they're winning.
Well, that's too bad because they really don't have a history of winning anything.
No, that's why I'm so happy for them that they got the Nationals right now, and they got Ovechkin, they got the Caps that are playing well, and even the Redskins with Robert Griffin III, bingo, RG3, your favorite player. I'm really happy for Washington.
I'm happy for them too. But here's the thing, my point is they create these small markets. They bitch about small market teams, and they want to collect. And they say, "Oh my God, we have to have a new CBA, otherwise we can't keep the one in Okefenokee up." Well, end it. Fold the team.
Yeah,
have to move.
I agree. Contraction is the best option that
Winnipeg-
them and the NBA could do.
What's that?
Contraction is the best thing that the NHL and the NBA should do.
Yeah. I mean,
They need to contract about 4 teams each.
when I was a kid, the Winnipeg Jets moved to Phoenix,
Yeah.
Kyle, and became the Phoenix Coyotes. Yotes, Kyle. And so what did they do? You know why they left Winnipeg, Dave? Do you have any idea?
Not a
Couldn't
fucking
get fucking money. So they move out of that socialist hole, that socialist glacier up in northern Canada, and they go into the desert. And you know what the problem is now, Dave?
I'm gonna go with
Fucking money.
yeah, that's what I'll go with.
That's the problem. So who's irresponsible here? Is the players trying to get more money as employees? I mean, don't you want more money as an employee?
No, I'm not blaming the players at all. If you notice, I didn't say one word about the players.
Sure.
They're in the right.
Is starting to turn on them. I noticed, well, the players aren't really helping out either. What do you mean? They caved 7 years ago and lost a season over it.
They took a deal that hurts my asshole. You know, the funny thing is when I wasn't a fan of the NHL and I didn't like hockey, I was under the impression, because I was always told by the ESPN and reports and shit, that for years, and I know this changed recently, the NHL was bleeding money like nobody's business. I mean, like bleeding money.
Teams, they kept making expansion teams the whole time.
And they're finally, almost every team is profitable right now. So this makes no sense. Even the small market teams are not in like these big deficits that they were 5-6 years ago.
Because management or Gary Bettman, I mean, Gary Bettman's lying, of course. I mean, but I don't blame Gary, because Gary Bettman's told a lie. And he's doing a fantastic job doing it. Because he's actually, because the media, unlike this strike or lockout, how dare I call it a strike?
Yeah.
In the past, the media is actually, in my opinion, has kind of like went out and supported the owners. This was the one time that the media said, this is ridiculous. And you see a lot of negative articles about Bettman and about the owners and things of that nature. You're just starting to see now the media turn on the NHL players.
Well, things changed.
Yeah.
In the 90s, especially in the early 90s, it was still millionaires versus millionaires. Now it's a little different. It's millionaires versus billionaires with a B, like in the NFL.
Sure.
And that seems to get, like, ESPN supports players in almost every single CBA. Like they were all totally behind the NBA players, totally behind the NFL players. I haven't watched ESPN in 2 years because I live in a fucking attic in Germany, so I don't know how they feel about the NHL. And I've ever since all this shit happened, I've started separating myself once again from the NHL and from hockey, because I'm just so disappointed that a sport that I really started to love is just alienating me.
Didn't I tell you? I think I recorded it. I think we have.
You did. You told me. Told me.
Because they're that greedy.
I feel like such a fool. My heart's been
You feel like you've been duped.
Yeah, I feel like I've been cheated on.
Yeah, I've been cheated on.
And I've been cheated on, and this feels rather similar.
Yeah.
I feel like they're fucking my best friend in my bed.
Ouch.
Yeah. It hurts. With a hockey stick. It hurts. I have splinters up my anus.
No, it is amazing to me. And like I said, going on before, I do think the media is slowly starting to turn on the players. I mean, again, we can't say this so much. The NHL in 2004 said, we cannot go on. The business will fall apart unless we get a new CBA. They got what they wanted, and they're saying, boy, this CBA, it's really unfair. To the owners. Why do I always cough? I do 10,000 shows. I do my own show. I do your show. I do every stupid thing I can get my hands on, and I can never cough except when I do Shop from the Point. It's amazing.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that should tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but maybe it should just tell you something. We look for signs and everything. That's what we do now.
Look for signs.
Look for signs. You're coughing. That means that's symbolic of the NHL coughing this up and choking like dogs.
Choking the life out of me. But I'm not going to. No, they're not choking the life out of me. How dare you, Dave? How dare you? They're not choking the life because I'm not going to let them. I'm going to destroy it.
You're so bad.
Do my part to destroy the NHL, because the only thing will get these guys back, and you got to be willing to do this. You got to be willing to take the risk.
I'm walking away.
You might walk away.
You ain't got to worry about that for me, player.
Walk away.
Got 350 pounds of former hockey fan walking that away.
You're doing your part too. We need to walk away. It's the only thing that's going to scare him. Blaming Bettman's not. Bettman is doing his job. That's it.
Fuck Bettman. Fuck the owners.
I'm not saying Bettman's a good guy or anything, but you know what? He doesn't have to be a good guy.
I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to these players coming over and playing here in Germany, man. We might be able to get to see some fucking stars.
Cardinals coming to Germany, I was reading. From the Flyers. That'd be fun. Thanks, America. Thanks, NHL. Thanks for not getting out. I get to watch, world-class hockey players instead of Haas Rittenmeyer.
Nice.
AHL. Much less my inline hockey team in Fords Park.
I think the Blackhawks should make a consensus decision to just come over here and dominate the German leagues.
I tell you something. If I'm not mistaken, the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators. Well, this is like a new version of the Ottawa Senators. We're in another league at some point. I'd have to look that up, but I don't care, and you'll never find out about it because I'm destroying this show.
Yep.
I'm going to destroy the show.
I don't blame you.
I'm going to destroy the show. And this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to stop. Just tell them, hey, look, I want to see the KHL. I want to see. Hockey is bigger than the New York Rangers. Hockey is bigger than the NHL. I know you love these teams. And, well, shit, I do a podcast. Don't fucking question my loyalty, asshole. I'm wasting my time screaming in my girlfriend's apartment. My makeshift studio and my rock band microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real with you, man. The NFL is going on, and the Bears are 4-1. I can give a fuck less about hockey right now.
That's what you said. I think I remember that's what you said last year. That's what you said.
And so NHL has really fucked itself with me because I don't think they're ever going to get me back unless the Blackhawks win like 3 Stanley Cups in a row when it does finally. Because we're not gullible enough to think that it's not going to come back because it is.
Out again.
Very serious.
Great movie. But, you can check out my show, Poker Alert, which is on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out my Facebook crap. If you want to keep up with all the latest poker news and what have you, the best thing to do is to follow me. I'm the only guy printing the important shit and waiting, and I'm not retweeting crap like, hey, Patty Poker's got some stupid deal where you can fly on where they won't give you the money for 10 months. I'm not doing that. So it's a good way to keep, if you're interested in the pros. In fact, there's a huge EPT tonight, Final Table, live. So, you watch that. So, at Jersey Ghost Twitter, please follow me on YouTube or on YouTube. You can also check out my podcast, except this one, on Podomatic. That's Tommy C. Jersey Ghost at Twitter, Podomatic. I can't even think straight. I'm done, Dave.
I'm pretty much done, too.
I'm done. And let me tell you something. Hockey. Let me tell you. Hockey fans.
Yeah, hockey fucks.
I'm through with you. I'm doing what you can't do. I have the strength to walk away from the game. And you should too, because it'll probably have more effect. I am going to destroy something I hold dear, and I'm going to do it right now. Right now, I'm going to destroy this fucking show forever.
Push the button, Tommy.
I'm going to push the fucking button. And you made me do it. You made me do it, hockey fans. It's your fault. You know what? Enjoy your lockout, motherfuckers, because this is it!